The second thing that Mr. Figures points out is priorities. So if you elect someone who lives outside of the district and there's a critical vote that could potentially benefit this district or the other district that they formerly represented, where will their loyalties lie? And so I want to put that question out there for consideration. I think it's certainly a valid point to raise, but I'm very curious to hear from our viewers what you think about those particular assertions from Mr. Figure's response to the question on residency. So after Shamari Figure's response, then it came back around to State Representative Anthony Daniels and State Senator Merika Coleman, and they got a chance to respond to some of the comments that Mr. Figures made. And listen, these are two really seasoned politicians. They've been around the block, and so they knew that this question would come and they were ready for it. And so as you're listening to their responses, I want you to really hone in on what their justification is as to why the fact that they don't live in the district at this moment shouldn't preclude you from considering them when you take your vote on March the 5th.
So I have generations of family. First of all, I was raised in Bullock County, Midway, Alabama. Since I was 2 months old, raised by my grandparents in this district. Graduated elementary school in this district. Graduated from Bullock County High School in this district. Serving in Alabama legislature and delivering services to this district. Whether it's on the oversight committee of distributing ARPA funding to communities throughout this district, or whether it's doing sports camps or robotics camps in Union Springs, or whether it's giving directing funding to Union Springs for after-school programs, or whether it's helping with some of the development in other parts of the district and delivering revenue to other parts of the district. Now, do you ever leave home when you leave? Or do you ever really leave home? I've been engaged in their records of me doing public service in this district for the last 20 years. And now, when people talk about when you live, there's no one better prepared to represent this district than me. I grew up in poverty in Midway, Alabama. I represent an urban area with resources and deliver for them. You have Montgomery and Mobile that are urban centers in this district, and you have 11 out of the 13 counties that are rural. I'm one of the only candidates on this stage that was actually raised in the district in a rural community. So there's no one that better understands this district than me. I didn't stay the night in the district, but I delivered hundreds of millions of dollars to the district by being on the ARPA funding committee and the Education Trust Fund committee. So if anybody on this stage that slept nights in this district and haven't delivered for this district, and I've delivered more than them, then they should not be in the office that they're currently in.
All right now.
So it's time to put all the play stuff to the side.
That's right.
Because we're talking about receipts, and I got it.
All right. Come on in. All right. Come on in.
21 years, and the multi-million-dollar, $3 billion ThyssenKrupp, the economic development for ThyssenKrupp and Mobile. I'm the only person on here that actually voted for that. I remember that vote so well because I almost missed my daughter's ballet recital. And I heard some impassioned speech here about people living and being from the district.
Come on now.
But if the litmus test is, I just was born here, but I ain't done nothing for the district, that's a very low bar for somebody to serve in Congress. So there was an impassioned speech here. But if you look at the poll that was referenced, the 1, 2, 3, and 4 of those people, and I'm one of the 4 of the 1, 2, 3, and 4, not one of those 1, 2, 3, or 4 in that poll that you referenced live in the district. One person is living out of a suitcase that has not even lived in this state since 2008 that keeps referencing working for Obama. We got somebody from Huntsville. I currently represent Jefferson County, but I did rent a home here in Montgomery because I do believe that it's very important that I'm amongst the people that I'm asking to vote for me. And another one of the 1, 2, and 3, and 4 moved out of the district. So the poll conflicts itself. What I have learned from the people that I've gone around to the district to talk to, what they've said to me, what's the most important to them is, do you have a record of deliverance? Have you produced for the state of Alabama? And Merika Coleman has been producing for the state of Alabama since 2002. I will continue to produce, and I will bring home that bacon.
So listen, I loved both of these responses. I think they both came prepared to address this. They knew this question would come. And so their answers were very similar in that, hey, look, we've got receipts. We've been fighting for the state of Alabama for our whole tenure in the legislature. And here are the things that we've done and accomplished in the second congressional district. So I think this was about as good of an answer as you could expect, especially when they both knew that this question was coming. Now, really quickly, let me just spotlight their residency, their current residency status. So Anthony Daniels, Representative Daniels, is currently representing a House district in Madison County, which is in North Alabama. And he has communicated his intention to move to this district should he be elected to this office. Mr. Daniels, Representative Daniels, also has a family and young children, so he would be moving his family to this district. I think it's important to note with him that he was born and raised in Bullock County. And has deep family ties in Bullock County, which is entirely in this district. And then he's also talked about his strong ties to Troy, which is in Pike County, that's also in the second congressional district. State Senator Coleman has also addressed this, and you heard in her response, she directly addressed the fact that she does not own a home in the district, but she has made the choice to rent a home in the district while she's running for office. And so in my conversation with her, she's spending a lot of time in the city of Montgomery and has rented a home in the city of Montgomery. So I think that's really important for anyone that's watching this to consider. But listen, I'd love to know your comments and your feedback after hearing those three responses to the question of residency. I want to close out with some polling information, and I'm pulling this from the Alabama Political Reporter. And let's see if I can find this. All right, so the SPLC Action Fund, they released a poll. This came out at the end of December. And they asked a bunch of issue-based questions, but the poll also includes just some basic who's winning this race right now. Let me say that this is a very early poll. Even today, people still aren't entirely engaged in this race, and we'll see more and more people start turning their heads to kind of thinking through who they want to support in this race in the coming weeks. But when this poll came out, 47% of voters were still undecided. And I imagine that number has probably dropped a little bit, but not much. But at that time, State Representative Napoleon Bracey was leading with 15%. Shamari Figures was leading in second with 9%. State Representative Anthony Daniels at 8%. State Senator Merika Coleman at 6%. State Representative Jeremy Gray at 4%. And State Representative Wandalyn Gavan at 2%. And Representative Gavan was not in attendance at the forum last Thursday. And so I think it's important, and I would ask you to think about two things. First of all, think about these numbers in the context of what we've just gone over regarding residency. And then also think about these numbers in the context of where the big populations are in this district, which are Mobile, the city of Mobile, and Montgomery. And you see that the two individuals from Mobile who have a base in Mobile at that time were polling number one and number two because they had a base there. I would tell you that if Montgomery had a strong candidate with strong name recognition, they would likely be in the top one or two in this poll. But because there's not a strong, and when I say a strong Montgomery candidate, I mean someone with previous elected experience. So there's not someone that has run a campaign here and has won a campaign here and has served as an elected official here that is currently in this race. Now we've got several Montgomery candidates who have run for offices previously, but none that have been elected are in this race. And so I want folks to think about that and share your thoughts on how you think that dynamic will impact the race. The fact that we don't have a Montgomery candidate who has previously served in office. And so with that, I'm going to sign off. I will be back with some more comments and observations from the forum. There were several moments where I thought people shined in the forum. There were also a couple of proposals of what these candidates would do if they were elected that really stood out to me. And so I want to share that with you. I also want to share that we will be having our first interview guest. We will be talking with one of the plaintiffs from the Milligan versus Merrill lawsuit that started this discussion. We hope to have her in the studio next week, so I'm excited to announce her. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.